Hi everyone, it's Ewan here at Blackwood N Gauge Layout. So on this next video I'm going to do some experimentation with some Hunt couplings. Now over the past number of weeks and months there have been quite a few videos posted onto YouTube showing the new Hunt couplings, that's the magnetic couplings, and most of these have concentrated on fitting to passenger stock to show obviously the difference in the gap between the gangways of the coaches. Now, like a lot of other modelers, I have already invested in some Hunt couplings and I have converted my Class 43 HST with Hunt couplings, and I have also done my Graham Farish Mark 1s and Mark 2s. The one thing I will say about fitting the Farish coaches, for the Mark 1s, the Hunt couplings are quite tight to get in. You have to use a fair bit of force to actually get them into the NEM pocket. They do go in, they won't break the NEM pocket, but just a word of warning, if none of you ever have actually converted your Mark 1s, you will have to use a fair bit of force to get the Hunt coupling to locate within the NEM pocket. So what I'm going to do today is, rather than concentrate on coaching stock, I am going to convert these. So these are Dapol Telescopic Hood wagons. Now I've got 9 of these on the layout, and I want to see what happens when I fit the Hunt magnetic couplings. Now these are the short ones, they're not the long shanked couplings. These are the ones with the short shank, which are the ones which obviously people have been putting on to their coaches. So what I'll do is we'll show you fitting a coupling onto just one wagon, and then what we'll do is I'll film the wagons going round the layout. Now probably what I'll do at first is I won't do all the wagons, I'll just do a couple. And we'll do a test, and then if the test goes relatively well, I'll fit the rest of the wagons and we'll see just exactly what happens with these wagons. So let's go over to the test bench, shall we say, and let's fit one of these Hunt couplings onto this wagon here. Right. I've got one of the wagons off the layout, so it's got the standard Rapido coupling at this end. So the first thing we'll do is we'll turn it over, and there is a small, I don't know if you can pick it out, right in the middle there, there's a small pin that actually holds the bogie down. Now in the Farish coaches, and I think the Dapol Mark 3s, you need to use a jeweler's screwdriver, and you just need to pop that pin out to release the bogie. Now I've already done the other end of this particular wagon, and in actual fact these wagons, they do appear, you can actually just pull them straight off very, very carefully. So I'll see whether or not I can actually remove this bogie just by pulling it, and yes it does. There we go. It comes off very, very easily. If I turn it over, the actual locating pin, I don't know whether you can see it, actually stays in the actual bogie. It's not actually fallen out. The bogie is still sitting in there. So once you've taken that off, the coupling here is actually, it's sprung loaded. So all you need to do is just put your finger behind the end of it and pull, and the Rapido coupling comes out, and then it's a simple case of getting your Hunt coupling and putting the Hunt coupling back in again. You'll need to put your finger at the back of it. So let's have a go at putting this one in. Again, mind my fingers, I probably won't be able to see this, but it's a case of just, oh, that one didn't work. Let's turn it around so I can actually see it. Okay, there we go. That's not too bad. So that's actually just simply popped in to the NEM pocket. As you can see, Hunt couplings now fitted, and all we need to do now is pop the bogie back in. Just sits on that pin there, and what I have found is if you use this end, the flat end, you can actually then just push the locating pin back down. Let's see, goes click, and that is the Hunt coupling put in. So that's one wagon done. I'm not going to do all of the wagons at the moment. I'm going to do another couple of wagons, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the train on a test run. Now I have got two first radius curves on Blackwood. One of them is cleverly hidden underneath a road bridge and goes into the fiddle yard. The other one is on view, so to speak, because it's at the back end of the motive power depot. So they're the only two first radius curves I have on the entire layout. So what I want to see is how these wagons actually work, getting pulled or getting pushed around these first radius curves. So what I'll do is I'll go and do another couple of wagons, and then we'll go back up onto the layout and we'll have a look and see how they look. Right, so I've done 2 or 3 of these wagons. I've put the Hunt couplings on, and the first thing that I'm noticing is the buffers are actually touching. You can see it there. If I don't know whether if I zoom in, you can clearly see the buffer between those two wagons is they're actually touching. Now if I move that out of the way, there are the Mark 1s that I did, the Farish Mark 1s. Now as you can see, the corridor connections are close, but if I zoom in a little bit closer, now you should see that the buffers are not actually touching there. There is actually a gap, and obviously when they go round the tight curves, there isn't an actual fact problem. But if we put these Hunts back in, as you can see there, they are in actual fact, bring that down slightly, as you can see the buffers are touching. Now it looks very, very realistic, but the question will be, when we come to do the really, really tight curves, will we have a buffer lock and will we have a derailment? So what I'll do is I'll marshal these into the train that they normally sit in, pulled by class 31, and I will take it round the layout through the section with the first radius curves, and let's see what happens. Right, I've marshalled these wagons back into the full rake of telescopic hood wagons, right the way along there. And if I come back, now this is actually a bit of the layout you guys never really see. This is actually the fiddle yard at Blackwood. As you can see, I actually have perspex, hinged perspex shells that come down over the top to keep the dust away. Now if you can see through the perspex, the train will actually come through there. That's actually a tight first radius curve. It's hidden by this road bridge. So there's a first radius curve there, and then if we come back around, we're going to be coming through the motive power depot, and just as you go through, you should be able to pick that up there. As you can see, the line disappearing to the right of the red brick wall, that is the other first radius curve. So this is going to be interesting when I take the train round to see what happens as to whether or not we actually get a derailment. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll set the camera up. It's probably easier to see this first radius curve, and we'll have a look and see what happens when we bring the train round. I'll do it relatively slowly because I'm not 100% convinced that the train will actually be able to negotiate this without the back end of the train derailing. So the train is just about to come through the first radius curve, just come into shot. Just there it is, there's the class 31. First number of wagons are obviously old repeater couplings. It's the wagons we come to at the end, which we're now just coming up. There they go, that's the ones with the Hunt couplings on. And they haven't derailed. Let's just see, it will go through the bridge, that's the other first radius curve. And I'm not seeing any actual derailment there. Fantastic. Now I'm not actually understanding why, when the buffers are actually hard up against one another, why that's actually happening. Just pick the train up again on the other side of the station, but it has done a complete circuit without any buffer lock. Right, I'm doing a further test because the one area that didn't test was the S bend and the double return bend that I have on the layout. So let's have a look at this going through over the curve points, then they'll bend back on themselves, then they'll bend back again, and let's see what happens. Yep, looks not bad. Right, I've let this train actually run round 3 or 4 times at varying speeds, and there's been no buffer lock. So what I'm going to do is let's reverse the train and let's see what happens when we're actually pushing the Hunt couplings, because obviously there is a bit of give, a wee bit of leeway when you're pulling, but obviously pushing there won't be any leeway. So let's see what happens. We'll go slowly at first. Now that is going through the first radius curve at the top end. It's under the, let's come back out round here, try to follow this train, and let's see, there we go, there it is going round. Now that's it going backwards, going through the first radius curve. There's no derailment, there's no buffer lock. Right, I've run the train a number of times going backwards. There is no buffer lock. Now that is a close-up. I've stopped the train on the first radius curve, and you can see the far away buffers are obviously miles apart, and the 2 inside buffers are actually rubbing. And I think the reason you don't get any buffer lock is because of the shape of the buffers. These buffers, obviously, the design of the wagon, the buffers were not round, they were rectangular, and they are actually quite long rectangular buffers. And what is happening, from what I can see, is that on these very, very tight first radius curves, because the buffers are so long, one buffer can't actually get behind the other buffer to give you buffer lock. They are actually just rubbing, almost prototypically they're rubbing together. So bottom line is, the short NEM Hunt couplings will fit these Dapol Telescopic Hood wagons, and they will go round first radius curves. I think I've just proved that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to carry on, and I'm going to do the other, I think there's another 4 wagons, 5 wagons to be done, and I will fit them with all the Hunt couplings. And then once I've done that, I'll give the train another run just to make sure that it's not something to do with the fact that part of the train's got rapidos and part of the train's got Hunt couplings. I really don't think so. I think I've proven beyond doubt, but we'll do the whole train and then we'll give another run. Okay, so I've completed fitting all the wagons with the Hunt couplings. As you can see, it's doing a complete circuit of the layout. That's it, just come through the first radius curve that comes into the fiddle yard at that point. So the one thing that I have actually done, apart from fitting these Hunt couplings, is that either end of the rake of wagons I've actually left a Dapol easy shunt coupling on, and that's simply to allow me to actually uncouple the train. If I bring this forward and actually stop it there, if I actually reverse it, I actually have got obviously the Dapol easy shunt magnets on some of the sidings here. So if I bring that 31 back, if I'm stopped over it, and there we go, we can actually obviously uncouple the actual rake of wagons. I've actually done that with my Farish Mark 1s. I've also put in easy link couplings at either end of the rake. The one thing I will say is that when I have fitted the Hunt couplings to the locomotives, I don't actually think they look right. I know that sounds strange, it might just be me, but I don't actually think they look right. They look just a bit strange. So what I've actually done is, for the locomotives, I'm actually going to complete fitting the Dapol easy shunt couplings, and that of course means that it will allow me to automatically uncouple the locomotive from the rake of coaches or the rake of wagons. But overall, for these Dapol telescopic hood wagons, yep, you can easily fit the Dapol, sorry, not the Dapol, the Hunt short NEM couplings, and they will go round first radius curves as I have proved. So what I will now do is I'll now look for another rake of wagons, possibly the Dapol silver bullets, and I'll try and fit some Hunt couplings to those. I don't have enough left, but I could do a couple of the wagons, and I'll do a test on them and let you know how that goes. Right, I've put a couple of the Hunt couplings onto these two Dapol silver bullet wagons, and unlike their telescopic hood wagon counterparts, as you can see, the buffers are not rubbing together. There's actually quite a gap between the buffers on these two vehicles. Now, I did get another two silver bullet wagons, and I put them side by side. So the gap between these two wagons is marginally narrower or shorter than the gap that you would have if you had either Rapido couplings or Dapol easy shunt couplings on. So there isn't a problem with these going round the layout. So just to emphasise, these are the short Hunt couplings, NEM Hunt couplings. These aren't the ones with the longer shank on them, these are the short ones. So yep, there's absolutely no problem with these. I've taken these wagons round the layout, and there's absolutely no problem with them at all. So all in all, I would be, for myself, I will obviously order yet more packs of Hunt couplings, and as I say, what I will probably do over a period of time is convert as many of my rakes of wagons to have Hunt couplings on them, and then at either end of the rake I'll probably leave the Dapol easy shunt couplings on, and then obviously all my locomotives, a lot of my locomotives already have the Dapol easy shunt couplings, but it does mean that for flexibility it will be easy to uncouple the rakes or the locomotives from the rakes when they get taken into the fiddle yard, and then obviously the wagons themselves are now quite easy to remove if I'm wanting to take them off the fiddle yard tracks and put them into safe storage so I can put other rolling stock on to the layout. So from me, it is a thumbs up for the Hunt Couplings, and I hope that you found this video useful, and I will catch all you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.